Alright, so now that we got the standoffs there, we can move on to the skid plate and the bumpers and LEDs. I've got a front bumper and I've already have the rear bumper attached to the skid plate, and we went ahead and made a change. We were going to use aluminum for this, but now we're going to go ahead and use we're going to include some 8mm plastic nylon screws and then a couple nylon bolts. This bumper is going to be redesigned in the version that you get. Right now I just have notched it so that it will clear the servo leads on the bottom of the board here. Now, the one thing that you're going to want to do before you put this skid plate on is figure out how you're going to wire your LEDs. Now, you will get a set of JSTs, so 2 pairs, 2 males, 2 females, one for the front, one for the rear. We include these because if you have this installed on here and then you have this here, you can take the skid plate off completely and not have to worry about removing the LED from the board. I just hardwire mine, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to first undo the servos so you have access to it. And then once these are disconnected, now you have access to that lead. I'll just push that out of the way. I'll just move it. And get that there. I'm going to take one of my, let me put the phone on the stand, makeshift stand. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take whichever one you have, I mean most of it, it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to take this LED and I'm going to stick it down onto the pad. And then I'll do the other one. This one's dirty. Let's get that cleaned up. Come on, there you go. Alright, so once you have that, I'm not going to use the end of it here. I'm going to cut that off. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to route my wires through here, and then I can plug these guys back in. And now you got that done. With the skid plate, when you install this rear piece, what you're going to notice is that there's going to be 2 different depths of this. Try to focus here. All right. So what you'll see is that right here, this piece here is thicker on the top than it is on the bottom. So the thicker part of this goes up, and then the thinner part goes down, and that's so that you have clearance on everything. And again, this rear bumper is going to be a little bit redesigned from the one that you get, and you're not going to have to worry about notching these things out like I've done. I'm just going to do that now so we can proceed with the video. Alright, so got the rear on there. Now we're going to want to move to the front. The front has LED pads right there, plus and minus. And then I'm going to do the same thing, except I'm going to take the other side of this. I'm going to hardwire these LEDs, so I don't really care that I'm using JSTs, but I give you guys that option. But so that I have still a set of extra JSTs, then I'm going to just use the female side of the JST in the front, and then I'll have another set of JSTs to use someplace else on another build or whatever. Basically the same concept. They're just going to take your, these are a little bit longer. Let me clip a little bit off. These have pretty long leads on them, so I'm going to trim those down just a hair. There we go. And just trim them down a little bit. And then I will put these guys on. Put these guys on. And there we have it. And then these are going to feed the, you know, I'm actually going to probably do it like this. I'm going to flip these around. It'll give me a little bit cleaner of a build if I go this way. That'll make it a little bit cleaner, because then I can just wrap this around like that onto the LEDs. Oops, sorry. I moved one on the inside, and then what I'll do is I'll just wrap them to this side of the LEDs, and that'll make it a little bit more clean of an install. So now that you've got those where they need to be, and you've got the wires extended out, now you can mate the skid plate finally. So this will go on as long as you have it lined up. It should go on fairly easy. There's the back, and the back just popped off. And then the front will go on. There we go. So it goes on pretty easily. Then you're going to want to take these little tiny lock nuts, and these little lock nuts will be what hold the arms on. I'm going to put the phone down, and then I'm going to just go ahead and add all of those. Alright, so I've got all the nuts on the bottom plate there, and it is now secure. Now, like I said, the front standoffs aren't on yet because we have to put the front bumper on, which is what we'll go ahead and do now. Front bumper is going to be held on also by the 18mm aluminum hardware, and then also by 2 standoffs on the other side of those. Now, we get the front bumper. Alright, so we've got all the standoffs on that we need. We've got our front bumper on with a wire to power the LEDs, and we've got a rear bumper with a power to run our LEDs. And then what you can go ahead and do if you'd like is go ahead and do the battery. And to do the battery, it will come with 2 pieces of silicone 12 gauge wire. 12 or 14 should be plenty. Depending on what you're trying to do. You might want to stay at 12, maybe 10 if you're running like a big motor or something like that, but for the most part this should be good for most everyday quads. Alright, so I've got the batteries attached, or the battery leads attached. What you're going to want to do is move on to the XT60, which is also included in your kit. Don't forget, you also have 2 pieces of heat shrink. You'll have a red piece, and you will also have a black piece of heat shrink. And that is someplace floating around over here. I'll have to find it. Remember to put that on, and here it is. Remember to put that on when you do it. I'm not going to do the XT60 on camera just because it's a little bit difficult to do. I have a little aluminum block that I use. I can clamp in my XT60 into here, and then I can kind of do one of these boop boop and then connect those onto it. Let me do that and then I'll be back. Alright, so now I've got the XT60 connected. You received in the kit also some wrap straps. What I like to do is I like to take those wrap straps excuse me, and slide it through here, get it into the other side, and cinch these wires down. Now of course you can use zip ties, but I like wrap straps. Are a little bit more forgiving on some of these electronics since they are just rubber rather than a rigid plastic. And then once you have those on there, you can just cut it off. Make sure I get it through one more loop here. Alright. There and there. And then these are extra little bits. Alright. And then all that's gonna do is it's just gonna give it some extra strength so that these don't get pulled out when you're disconnecting the battery or anything like that. It's just, like I said, it's just to help give it some, so you're pulling on the wrap strap versus on the leads themselves. And now that's the top side. That's pretty much it for there. I would move on to getting the camera installed now.